Thank you, moderator, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here, and I want to thank the organizers already for organizing this conference, because I'm sure this will be a successful conference. And I also want to thank the moderator for this first place that I received now, although it wasn't the first in the Olympics. So the theme of the conference, Health in All Policies, is not a new innovation. If you look at the background, what's behind the concept and the approach of health in all policies. It shares the same basic principles as healthy public policy and intersectoral action for health, both of which have been advocated for a long time. The key milestones have been Alma-Ata Declaration in 1978, the Ottawa Charter in 1986, and the Adelaide Recommendations on Healthy Public Policy in 1988. However, the main reason for launching the Health in All Policy approach was the fact there has been an implementation gap. Health promotion and the importance of health for all sectors has been recognized and advocated for years, but this has not translated into concrete action at the magnitude we would have hoped to. By launching the Health in All approach, an attempt is being made to focus attention on how to, and not so much what should be done, that has been discussed for years now. My presentation consists of 3 parts. First, I will present key messages from the recent important health meetings that, from their part, drive the health agenda of the countries. These are United Nations high-level meeting on non-communicable diseases, NCDs, held in New York in September 2011, and WHO's World Conference on Social Determinants of Health, also in last year in Rio de Janeiro. Both meetings resulted in declarations that would guide the further work in countries and at WHO. The second part of my presentation introduces the Health in All Policies approach. How do we understand that? What are the key elements? And so on. And lastly, I will discuss the role of impact assessment in implementing Health in All Policies approach. Non-communicable diseases, NCDs, was the second health issue ever that has been addressed at a special meeting of United Nations General Assembly. By the way, who knows which was the first health issue? Yeah, AIDS, HIV, that's right. So this is only the second time now health has been on the General Assembly agenda, so in that way it's a very remarkable achievement. But why is there the need to discuss NCDs at the United Nations General Assembly? The reason is, and there's now a little bit of repetition on Carlos Dora's presentation yesterday, but not too much, but I will go quite quickly through these slides. So the reason is the huge burden to countries. NCDs are the single biggest cause of death in the world. 60% of all deaths are due to NCDs. And 16% of all deaths are premature from NCDs. And that's under age of 60. And if you use another cutoff point, age of 70 years, 24% of all premature deaths are from NCDs. And what's dramatic here, developing countries carry the biggest burden of these premature deaths. 90% of premature deaths from NCDs occur in developing countries that have the least resources to respond to them. Recent WHO work on NCDs has focused on 4 non-communicable diseases, which are heart disease and stroke, diabetes, cancer, chronic lung disease, and for risk factors, which are common to these diseases, tobacco use, unhealthy diets, physical inactivity, and harmful use of alcohol. And these were further emphasized in the New York Political Declaration. The New York Political Declaration specifically recognizes the need for multi-sectoral approaches for health at the government level, specifying health in all policies as one of the key approaches. In that sense, the topic of this conference is very actual. The Rio Declaration also emphasizes the need to work with all sectors and also the need to reorient the health sector towards reducing health inequities. It specifically mentions health impact assessment as one of the measures. Thus, these two important meetings have created a political momentum for action. What is needed now is concrete action and concrete tools. This conference will make a difference if it is able to provide the international community and national governments with concrete examples on how to use impact assessment and scale up the use of impact assessments to reach the objectives and expectations of these two important political declarations. The 8th Global Conference for Health Promotion, which will be held in Helsinki in June next year, also has health in all policies as a major theme. The focus of that meeting is on implementation, how to. This conference is an important step contributing Helsinki and its agenda. Then a few words about health in all policies and the approach of health in all policies. There is no definition for health in all policies which would have been widely accepted or known. Actually, there are very few definitions of the concept. Instead, many authors have characterized the nature of the concept as can be seen here. Health in all policies can be seen as an approach emphasizing the public policies and decisions made concerning policy areas other than health have a significant impact on citizens' health, on health determinants, and on the capacity of health system to respond to the health needs. It assists policymakers to integrate considerations of health, well-being and equity during the planning, implementation and evaluation of the services and policies. Thus, it's not equivalent to the health impact assessment, what some people think, nor it's not equivalent to whole of government approach, although it's very similar to whole of government approach. Next, I will present a few key elements of the approach and some implementation mechanisms. I won't go into details, but merely give you a snapshot of them. So key elements, the 6 key elements form the base of health in all policy approach. First, we need to have a transparent and democratic policy making, which relies on public ownership and participation. Secondly, if we have some sort of legal backing which enables us to push different sectors to work together, we may get easier, long-lasting results. Third, policy literacy is essential. We need to have the ability to identify other sectors' topical policy issues and understand how they are related to determinants of health. We need to seek a common language that all sectors understand. Fourth, we can't forget the public health knowledge and data that will guide us to focus and prioritize for health issues. They will be base for the long-term vision and strategy. Fifth, some sort of organizational structure for collaboration with other sectors is necessary, that we are able to create contacts and genuine dialogue between the sectors. It's very difficult to believe that health in all policies would be successful without a real dialogue between the different sectors. And lastly, we do need the political will. It's important. You may find this mentioned in every writing on health in all policies type of approaches. However, I want to emphasize that it's possible to implement health in all policy approach without, although health would not have been high on the government's agenda. It's easier if you have the political will there, but it can be done also without it. Next, I will present shortly a few structures, mechanisms, and tools that are used to implement health in all policies. I have divided the implementation in two parts. Implementation for national administration, civil servants, that's one part, and the political process, which describes what politicians can do in order to back up, maintain, or initiate health in all policies. Sometimes we are not making a full use of politicians and their abilities and opportunities to work for health. That's why we have put them separately here. So we have, for example, for national administration, we have intersectoral committees, impact assessments, including health impact assessment, policy reviews and assessments, policy audits, joint action and common project with shared co-benefits, internet consultations and access to documents, special invoice commissioners, offices and ombudsmen, and of course issue-based multi-sectoral action. And for the political process, we have specific committees, for example, parliamentary committees. Politicians can require review and oversight processes that the civil servants can't do. And that's also important. They will keep hearings and consultations. Informal parliamentary coalitions and networks are not unusual. Public reporting is important, and the preparation of the public reports in intersectoral way is a very good way to enhance the collaboration. And then we have deliberate methods and mechanisms to better include and address the views of citizens. We have budgetary reviews and discussions, and issue-based collaborative action. So we have many different kind of mechanisms and tools that can be used and should be used. So, and lastly, a few words about impact assessment as a mean to implement health in all policies. World is full of impact assessments. We have environmental impact assessments, business impact assessment, child impact assessment, economic impact assessment, health impact assessment, and so on. Literature has identified 142 different kinds of impact assessment, and that was in 2004. So there must be more at the moment. If I would be a policymaker, how should I know which impact assessment should I use? Or should I use many impact assessments at the same time? I'll come back to these questions in a minute, but before that, a few words about who should do the impact assessment, just quickly. For the policy making and preparation of the policies, the key question is, should it be integrated in the routine planning or commissioned? I do have an opinion about that, but I'm not going to tell about that now. We can discuss that later on. But anyway, it's important that the impact assessment is proportional to the importance of the health issue and the assessment. To implement health in all policies, it's important that we make most use of all impact assessments and find the most feasible assessment based on the needs of the case. The same principle that applies in research phenomenon determines the research methods used. Should also imply in impact assessments. It shouldn't be the other way around, that we are using the same methods for each research question or each health issue. Many times health impact assessment is the right way to go, but in many cases it's not the best option for diverse reasons. For example, other sectors have their own impact assessments. It's not realistic to expect that other sectors would do health impact assessment in addition to their own impact assessments. I think that the integrated impact assessment needs more attention and advocacy. One of the reasons is that other sectors may be more responsive to integrated impact assessments, since their impacts are also assessed. It also gives access to other sectors' policymaking that is very hard to reach. And if it is institutionalized, no selection of the issues to be assessed is possible. And that's the case, for example, in the European Union. However, we know that there's a risk that health impacts can be or will be neglected partly if it's part of the broader integrated impact assessment. And we also have some evidence of that from the European Union, from Finland, and also from UK. So that's a risk, but if we know the risk, so we can also react, keeping that in mind. We also need to look at the other sectors' impact assessment. Do they have health component in their assessment? And is it strong enough? That's something that health sector needs to do, take care of. As a conclusion, it can be said that the United Nations high-level meeting on NCD and the World Conference on Social Determinants of Health created the political momentum and climate for action. So this is now a good time for action, real action in countries. There's a clear need from member states of the United Nations for concrete action. Countries need effective tools and measures. The future work needs to focus on how to and provide concrete guidance. Meeting the global target of 25% reduction in premature mortality from NCDs by 2025, which was adopted in World Health Assembly this year, is hard to achieve without healthy health policies type of approach. Health impact assessment is a crucial tool in the implementation of the approach. The key question is how to scale it up. And also more attention needs to be paid to diverse utilization of all impact assessments, how to make most use of them. And finally, I will finish my presentation with a picture from the venue of the 8th Global Conference on Health Promotion. I would like to welcome you all to Helsinki, but unfortunately, the conference is by invitation only, and most of the participants will be from the ministries of the WHO member states. However, I encourage you to follow the process and the outcomes of the meeting through the web pages of the conference. A lot of useful material and tools will be developed for the conference, and at least the plenary sessions will be videotaped. Thank you.